in Black and African pop culture and media? Because that's like 100 years worth of history that you're asking. So what does hair represent in Black culture and popular media? I think what's really important to keep in mind is that hair has an incredibly rich and complicated presence in the Black experience in America. It's rooted in a history of pain, dispossession, and necessary change. This is why I'm saying that hair is incredibly complicated in Black communities. It's not just something that grows on our head, right?
So to some of my clients, I'm their therapist. To some of my clients, I'm their bestie. To some of my clients, I'm their herbalist because I'm a natural girly. And to some of my clients, I'm everything. They love me. It's deeper than just a brand. My brand is known throughout the city, the tri-state, but the behavior that my brand brings, that's what influenced people to come to me. I started doing hair as a little girl. I taught myself how to braid, how to do a lot of things at the young age of 9 years old. I would be doing my doll baby's hair and my mother would be like, well, where's my gel? Where's my grease? And then she'll turn around and then Barbie's all done up. I'm a visual learner, so I'm visual. If I can see something, I can remake it. I feel like the artistry of doing hair comes from being able to look at something or see a style and recreating it and making it your own. That's the true artistry. Right now, I feel like my niche is extensions. I love the art of extensions. I love creating the illusion of natural hair. A lace is a thin piece of, some people will call it mesh, but the right terminology for it is denier lace, and it has small little knots in there, and when you apply it to the hair, it gives a natural illusion of scalp.
I specialize in natural hair, which would be dreadlocks and braids. People assume that if you have dreadlocks, you're an unkept person, a not so clean person, that you don't put in enough time with your hair, and that's totally incorrect.
Black hairdressers, Black barbers, they had this level of economic and social independence and freedom because they're depending not on white society, so right? They're not dependent upon that, they're dependent upon Black communities. And so what happens is that like barbershops and hair salons, they become the locus of political conversation, of people hanging out, catching up on good gossip, on trading ideas.
Mostly everybody can get a haircut. That's where the common bond between, I don't care if you're white, Black, Spanish, with all races, everybody's welcome. I got into cutting hair when I was like in second grade. The teacher asked me something, what would you like to do when you grow up? I said a basketball player before, that's my first answer. My mom also said, was like, you should always pick something more realistic. And my first answer was a barber. Taper is like the cousin of a fade, if you could say that. The taper has everything a fade does. It's just like a fade is more all around the head. So like taper is more of a section of the head. So like, it's like the temple, a temp taper, a high taper, a low taper, to where say a fade, a high fade, low fade, it's like all around your head. See, a lot of people will go with the lineup. The lineup is probably the most artistic part. That's like, that gives you the pop. But I think it's the fade, because the fade is like everything that someone else can't do, because it's what your eye sees. Somebody be like, can you fade like that? I can't teach it. It's like, your eyes can't see what my eyes do. You can learn from somebody without even knowing you learning from somebody. Just the words, just the conversation y'all have each day, like you wouldn't even know that you taking from them. I like cutting kids too sometimes, because like, I wouldn't even know that I'm feeding the youth just by just doing my everyday thing. Favorite part about being a barber in general is like running my own shop. They say like, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. Like I live by that, because it's like, I don't see it as work, but like I still, like you said, this is business to me, but I like to still stay with the business mind aspect of it. If I ever do get tired of cutting, I want to see about a school so I can put the next generation on. That's what I like to do.
even if you don't have the linguistic skills, you can sit down and like point and look and they'll be like, yeah, I got you, right? I mean, I've had plenty of those moments in South Africa when I wanted something or needed something, and if I didn't have the word in Zulu or Xhosa, you know, I could just point and say, or point to a picture, and I felt assured, even if that person had never done my hair, I knew I was a lot safer than walking into some salon that was perhaps owned by Europeans.
In certain tribes, like the Maasai, the women shave their hair, the men grow their hair and style each other's hair. And so that completely flips people's brains inside out in a society such as ours where we are just so conditioned. One of the reasons why I created the Heritage series was to get Black people to love themselves again. Because I feel like, how can we expect other people to love and respect us if we don't really fully grasp that concept for ourselves in the way that we appreciate our hair the way it is? I was inspired by my aunt, Dedra, in Columbus, who, you know, spent much of her life with flowing long hair and now has accepted alopecia as a way of life. And so I thought, I wonder if she'll see herself the way I see herself if she allows me to paint her. So I painted her, but before I painted her, I painted my mother. The personal relationship with the subject matter definitely adds more to the life of the painting. Well, especially if you are actually drawing them from life, because no matter how awesome a camera is, it's never going to capture the way the human eye is.
The idea that Black hair has not had some artistic space, it probably hasn't been at the Met or at the Gala, right? Like, you know, MoMA hasn't done an exhibit on Black hair. It's not history, right? It's everything, right? It's about economic dependence. It's about survival. It's about, I mean, it is the good old American dream, you know, in a certain extent, the idea that the harder that you work, we've got a lot of foundational myths as Americans, right? The harder that you work, the more that you can achieve. If you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like all these little myths, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And meanwhile, well, most of Black America is saying, I don't have any bootstraps, right? In this particular niche, right, with hair, hair is one of those places where, you know, individuals can have that American dream. They can have that ability to be independent from, you know, mainstream, i.e. white economic forces. They can be in service to the Black community. They can live a life of purpose, right? And so it's freedom, right? On so many different levels. It is not something that should be seen as constricts individuals when it has a function, right? It's not just something that grows out of our heads. It has a function in our community. It has a function in the culture. And a lot of people who do hair today, they are true culture bearers, whether, you know, they know it or not, or whether you recognize it or not. Passing those skills down generation by generation, no matter how long you have to wait at the hair salon, no matter how long you're sitting there at the barbershop. Again, as I said earlier, it is a coming of age, and it's incredibly important. It's an incredibly important cultural institution in Black America. So what is hair? Well, hair is the fibrous stuff that grows on the tops of our heads and a few other places. Our hair is like that of other animals, except that the hair on the tops of our heads can grow and grow and grow.